sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and dance. Welcome to your Vape at 5. I am your host, and I'm a great singer. Today, I have a little review for you for a new device from a gentleman that needs absolutely no introduction. It's another product from Mike Vapes. This is the Recurve Dual. The cap's not fully on there, though. I left it off because it's easier for me to get to and show you the deck. Gonna talk about this a little bit, take you down low. I'm gonna show you what you get in the box. I'm gonna show you everything that comes with it. Gonna show you the deck. We're gonna talk a little bit about it. I'm gonna wick it up, and then we're gonna vape it, and I'll give you my pros and cons, and we'll get out of here. Now, if you're watching this live, which is, if you're watching it right now, it's live. It's live! You're watching it. I have a giveaway today for a bottle of Turkish maize from our wonderful sponsor, Mr. M. Turk. Fantastic e-liquid. If you've never had this stuff is fire. It's actually butterscotch and corn. I was talking about it yesterday, and it is fire. I don't know if you think corn vapes well or not, but it's buttery and it's good, and with the butterscotch sweetness, it is absolute fire. I'm giving away a 60 ml of this today with a set of coils from our featured builder of the week, Mr. Cool Vapes. So stick around for that. To enter that, you're going to go to Monday's episode, Tuesday's episode, which was yesterday. It's episode 283. You're going to put a number between 1 and 150 in the comment section of that video. Mike Vapes has been on fire. The guy is putting out product after product, and in my opinion, he's hitting home runs every time. Mike and I have a very similar vaping style, and I don't know that because we've talked about it in detail, but I do know that by the products that he designs typically are right up my alley and products that I really, really enjoy. The last product that I reviewed for him was the Rebirth RTA. Before that was the Rebirth RDA. Both of them were excellent products in my opinion. I think the Rebirth RDA's build deck is the best flavored deck that I've ever used. The Recurve, as you remember, was originally a single coil RDA. It was then designed as a dual coil RDA, hence the name, the Recurve Dual. Did he lose anything by moving it from a single coil to a dual coil? Well, we'll talk about it and we'll see what happens. I think, or did he improve on it? Well, I'll let you know what I think. So without further ado, let's take it down to the table here. We're going to take a look at the the Recurve Dual RDA. How are we doing this? Going downtown. There we go. All right. Move that in just a touch. Focus that in just a little bit. Now, as you know, I have a manual focus camera, so I will be messing with the focus as we go. Here is the packaging that comes with it. It's got the action figure packaging, just similar to the Wotofo profile that we looked at last week. Here it says Recurve Dual. There's your little scratch and sniff and security check. Wotofo! And then some information. I'll tell you what's all in the box. We don't really need to look at that. And your color indicator, which this one is blue. Comes in blue, gold, gunmetal, stainless steel, and black. All the Wotofo colors. I absolutely love the Wotofo blue, though. So that's why I went with this one for the review. Inside the box here, you're going to get all kinds of stuff. Wotofo is famous for sending all kinds of extras with their products. You're going to get some wicking cotton. You're going to get a set of 4-core 28 gauge by 36 N80 fused Claptons. These are 0.26 single coil and 0.13 dual. We're going to use these today. This is what I'm going to use, and this is what I'm going to wick up. You're also going to get your standard extras. Let's see if I can get that down there so you can see it. You're going to get a gold-plated 510 pin squonking pin, some extra deck screws. You're going to get some O-rings and an extra larger O-ring around the top. Save that for last. You're going to get your little driver here, which is a Phillips head driver. You're also going to get an Allen key, and then you get another visual instructions, just like the Wotofo instructions on the Profile Unity. You're going to get some really detailed instructions on how to do everything. And Wotofo has really hit home runs with this. Absolutely fantastic. Shows you how to wick it, how to cut the cotton, where to put it, how to install the coils, how to use the Coily tool, which is a version of the Coily tool, something really unique. Back here is just some more instructions in different languages. The standard drip tip that comes with it is this short drip tip. One thing about it, it's acrylic. I'm not really a fan of it. I took it out and changed it for the Recurve style drip tip, which is what I used, which is this one here, which is kind of a smoked drip tip. Not a big fan of this one. It was just a little too short for me. I have big lips though. And then they give you little instructions here how to use the coily tool. So since I just touched on that, why don't we take a look at the coily tool? Put the instructions back in here. Leave these out because that's what I'm going to use. I'll set that to the side. All right, so here's a really nice feature that comes with this that you can use pretty much for all your RDAs. So basically you're going to put your coils down into these little holes here, and then you're going to cut it at the recommended length. The first one here on the top is 4 millimeters thick. So you see there is a 4 millimeter block. Second one here and the rest are all 1 millimeter. So this is suggested to be run at 7 millimeters right there. So you would take 4 more of the single blocks, 3 more of the single blocks, and add it to the 4 millimeter block, and then you would put your coils in here and cut right there. Super easy. I actually ran it at 6, so I ran it a little bit shorter, and I'll show you why I did that, and it was fantastic. So I used 3, is there 3? Yeah, 2 here, and then the 4, and that came out to 6 millimeters. And I'll show you why I did that. So let's take a look at the RDA. Very consistent. Now he made a cap for the Recurve single that was more this style. It was an optional cap that you could purchase after market or after buying the Recurve, and it was more this style cap. So it wasn't indented in. That's why this one isn't indented in. 24 millimeter cap, all one piece, concave in there. Machining on it is fantastic. Looks nice and clean. Drip tip on it is the Recurve original style drip tip, which I absolutely love this drip tip. Excuse all the moisture and stuff. It just came out of my ultrasonic, so it's going to be a little wet. Frosted drip tip. Nice O-ring inside of there. Hold your 810 drip tip on there. Beautiful. I absolutely love the Wotofo blue. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Beautiful one-piece cap there. Really short. This is a 24 millimeter RDA, but it is only 22.5 millimeters from the bottom here to the top. So it is a little short, which I like that as well. Helps condense the flavor in my opinion. And it really added to it. Now the airflow control here, the airflow holes, I'm going to bring you down and focus you in. And I want you to see this. So if you look actually on the deck, so these line up with the deck obviously. But if you look on the deck here, let me focus you in just a bit more. These are angled down. See if I can get you in there. So if you can kind of see, they are actually angled down. And that is the reason why I chose to make it just a millimeter shorter on my leads, to get it a little bit lower and really put it in the middle. Now it'll still do it with the 7 millimeter, but I thought it was a little bit more effective with that 6 millimeter. I originally started this in squonk mode and then ended up dripping it the remainder of the time. So there you go. Let me turn this light on over here for you guys so you can see a little bit better. There we go. So postless deck. So very similar to the original Recurve. The walls here, the stadium type deck is kind of what I call it. It's got like this like auditorium style or amphitheater type walls on the side here that control your airflow. They're a little bit thicker on the original Recurve, and actually the insulator on the original Recurve was all on one side and went around the back. This one here, it's split right down the middle. So you can see that peak insulator with your positive side and your negative side over here. Juice well on it is 9 millimeters deep. And if you can see, if you look down in there, there's these two on either side where your wick goes. There's these two juice wells that angle down. So as you squonk it, the liquid actually comes and then settles right under your wick. It wicks fantastically with squawking. You're going to adjust Phillips head screws to adjust your post holes. You can use Phillips or you can use flathead, just depending on what you want to use. Focused in best I can. Bottom of it here says Recurve Dual. I'm having a little bit of problem with my lighting. Let me turn that off to see if it makes a difference. Bottom of it here says Recurve Dual and Mr. Mike Vapes. Let's turn this down. See if that makes a difference. A little bit. And Mike Vapes. Hexapin for your squonk. And that is actually for your 510 pin as well. 510 pin, it extends fairly nicely. There we go. 510 pin extends fairly nicely. So you could actually use this in a hybrid connection without a worry. Threading on it is nice. Machining on it is super nice, guys. Looks really, really good. I absolutely love the design of this deck. What he did, basically, the original Recurve was 24 millimeters, but the cap was a lot thicker. So it was a much smaller deck. It was actually a 22 millimeter size deck with a 24 millimeter, with the cap being a lot thicker to make it a 24 millimeter RDA. This one here, he just took away that thickness of the RDA and then moved the stadium walls out a bit, made them less thick so that you could actually fit a dual build in here. And you could fit up to 4.5 millimeter dual coils in here, I think, no problem. I ran 3 millimeter and you'll see what they look like. I like to run mine, instead of angling them back towards the airflow, I tend to angle them together where they're not touching each other, but they're barely not touching each other. So very small space in between. And that's how I ran my build. And I got fantastic flavor that way. Side of the deck here, it says Recurve Dual. Very well done. And it's nice and simple. If you look at the cap here, it says Recurve on the side. Nothing really on it, though, to draw too much attention to it. Just a really pretty cap, and certainly up my style. I'm not for flashy RDAs. I like them, tend to be less flashy, or I guess, dare I say, basic looking is more my style. All right, so let's wick this thing up. I'm going to use the coils provided. So what we'll do is we'll use the coily tool, and I will cut those off. I'm going to cut them at 6 millimeters. And I'm going to use the tool to guide that for me. So let's take you back up a bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Focus this in. There we go. All right, grab these coils. Cut this open. All right. There we go. Grab the coily tool here. So flip it over. I got 4 millimeters. I'm going to add 2 more of these little sliders. Open it up. Drop one in there just like so. Hold it nice and tight, and then just grab your cutters and cut off the leads. Nice and slow so they don't shoot anywhere. Let's see, how's that look? Pretty good. Let's get this first one here just a little bit extra. There we go. There's one. And just as easy as that, you have them cut perfectly. Not only that, but they're cut evenly, which is really, really important when you're using these postless deck, that you keep them nice and even. There. Cut that there. Cut that there. I can already tell that one is a little longer, so I'm going to come back here and cut that. Yep, let's cut that one again. There we go. All right, perfect. So we got our coils cut. Change that there. I'm just going to move all this out of the way so I don't step on it or it doesn't fall on the floor. I hate that. All right, we're just going to install our coils here. Grab my coil rod. And we're just going to place them right into the deck. Make sure all the deck holes are open. They are. And just place them right down in there. See if I could get doing it here without being able to see it as well as I'd like. But we'll get it. There we go. All right, so we got one in there. Let's just hold that in there. Use our driver to screw it in. And screw on the other side. Easy install. Let's just take our driver here and we're just going to turn it so that it's facing. I'll move them exactly where I want them after I heat them in. But let's just get them installed first, and then we will worry about setting them up perfectly. There we go. That side went a little bit better. I couldn't really see it the first time I was doing it, so I was kind of doing it blind just by feel. I didn't have much success getting them in there, but that time I could actually see it. So let's get this on here. All right, nice and tight, easy to install. Let's pull this over. And I want them as basically not touching, but damn close as they can get without touching. In a sense, I kind of see a deck like this, and I want both the coils to kind of act as one. So I don't want them to be touching each other, obviously, because they'll short it out. But I do want them to be as close as they possibly can so they kind of act like one coil. Now, let's burn these in. I haven't used these Wotofo coils, so I don't really know too much about them. I'll tell you, they look nice, though. 4-core fused Clapton. They look really nice. I have to give them credit. I mean, however they're making them, it looks good. All right, so see what am I at? 81 watts. Let's turn this down to let's start out at about 36. Pump a little heat through them. All right, turn them up a bit. There we go. I'm gonna take it up to about 50. There we go. I love how nichrome colors. You see that nice purple and gold coming in. Let's take you down a little bit so you guys can actually see this. There we go. Burning nice and even. Little hot spot right there. There we got it. They are done. Perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and wick this up. Now I got a new cotton sponsor. So I reviewed the Holy Fiber a few weeks ago, or maybe last week or the week. Yeah, it was probably the week before. And they wanted to send some more and have us use it on the channel. So very thankful for that. And I'll tell you guys, man, I absolutely love this cotton. I really do, and I would not lead you wrong. I know they're a sponsor, and I'll come right out and tell you that. But as far as the performance of this cotton, it's fantastic. It really, really is. It wicks fantastic. It lasts forever. I've never taken a piece out where it didn't look brand new, so I'm really sold on it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So let's take this, just roll it up. I've been so spoiled though lately using cotton threads constantly that actually doing the Swedish roll here and wicking these up normal is a little bit of a challenge for me. Getting back used to it again. I don't like to roll it too much when I put it in there. I kind of like it to stay like that just because I don't like to compromise the cotton at all. So I try not to roll the end that's actually only end I try to roll is the one I'm cutting off. So like this part here. But I try not to roll the rest of it. I try to leave it as loose as it can just so it feels like it absorbs better that way. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that or not. I'm kind of weird about it. Maybe that's just a builder thing. Like I always try to make it my wicks perfect. I'm sure that's probably just from pictures and stuff like that. All right, put that back in here. And this cotton just feels really durable. I haven't had it, like a lot of times you can use cotton and just pull it apart. This doesn't really do that for me. All right, so it's still a little bit long. We're gonna comb this out too. So get that there. All right. Now let's go ahead and comb this out. And focus that in a bit. There we go. try to get as much out of it as I possibly can. Now let's just cut these nice and even. Cut it nice and even over here. Pull these just a touch that way. All right, let's wick her up. I'm going to be using some. Now, I've never used this before. This is Shy Tots Cinnamon. It is cinnamon roll, and I had never used it before till the other day, and I am absolutely in love. This stuff is fire. It tastes just like a Cinnabon. If you've ever had Cinnabons like in the mall, it tastes just like a Cinnabon. It is absolute fire. So let's turn this up. I believe this is a 0.1 build. Check atomizer. That's fantastic. Let's just make sure these are all screwed in here good. If not, I'll throw this on a mech, so I'm not too worried about it. There we go. Here. God, it smells so good. It's ridiculous. All right. Should be good to go. Let's see here. All right. Let's put this on a mech. And we'll bring it back up top and give it a vape. Throw that mod in the trash, I know. You know, I'm so frugal that I refuse to throw anything in the trash. But yeah, it's getting down to its last hurrah. That's why we should just stick with mechs during the reviews. So much easier. You don't have to worry about any kind of mechanical problems. Or one thing about the cap here, though. So obviously your air holes are here on these stadium wall type. What you're going to do is put your airflow on at a 90-degree angle and then turn it like you're turning it forward, and that is all the way open. Now, I'm going to show you something here real quick that I found with this that could be something that you might want to take into consideration. Let's just take it down just a little bit more. So the way that this works is these 6 holes line up with the 6 airflow control holes on the deck, all of them angled down like I mentioned before. The problem is when you turn this to close it off, so let's get it open. That's all the way open. When you close it just a little bit, can you see that? How it closes off the other 2 holes as well? So you have to line it up perfectly with those 2 holes in order to stay open. So you really only get either open or closed. You can't really half it like you would with another RDA, because you'll basically get that where they're half open until you fully get it rotated around. I don't particularly like that. It's one thing about it that I thought if you take the airflow and open it all the way across, then you wouldn't have that. But I don't know if you could do the downward airflow with that. So I think that's probably why he went with the 6 holes instead. So I hope that makes sense. All right, let's bring it back up top. And we will talk about the Recurve Dual. I'm dying to have a vape of this. I'm like dying, because first off, I love this juice. And secondly, this RDA, it tastes fantastic in this RDA. So let's take a couple vapes off of it, and then we'll talk about my thoughts on the Recurve Dual RDA. Let's see. Oh shit, that's right. Here we go. All kinds of failures today. Let's see if I can get. The damn throw's too short on this goddamn back. What if I... Let me change the throw. There we go. Now let's give it a shot and see if that works. If that doesn't work, then I'm just gonna quit the review. I'm just gonna turn it off, and we'll just not talk about it anymore. We'll just move on from all this. All this will be edited out. No, it won't. So, the Recurve Dual RDA. Now, I've been using this now for about 6 days. I started using it last Thursday in expectation of this review. I've had a really, really nice experience with it. Everything that, like I said before, I think Mike and I vape very similar because the products that he puts out are very similar to what I like to buy and what I like to use. The Rebirth RDA is one of my favorite of all time. The Rebirth RTA is also one of my top RTAs of all time. How does the Recurve Dual stand up against that? Well, let me go through the negatives and the positives of the RDA. First, the negative. Now, I showed you there at the end how the airflow, how it doesn't actually match up. And that's one thing about it. It gives you the 6 open airflow control holes on both sides. All of them are about 1.5 millimeters. The original Recurve, they were only about 0.8 millimeters. So it's a lot of airflow compared to the original Recurve. It's perfect airflow for a dual coil configuration. When you turn it down with all 6 open, when you turn it down to the 4 holes open, it feels more restricted. It feels almost like the original Recurve airflow. So you still have that option, but with a dual coil, you want all 6 open, and it is actually damn near perfect amount of airflow for a dual coil. The negative of this RDA, or the only negative I could actually find, was when you close the airflow off, it closes off all the holes all at once, and that, to me, is something that I like to dial my airflow in. I always talk about that with my RDAs. I dial the airflow into exactly how I want it. With this one, you don't really have that. Now, with the airflow wide open and the 6 holes, it's really, really great. Could you dial it in a little bit more? Yeah, probably, but you can't. And that's the problem. So you either got to go with 6, 4, or 2 holes open. Also, if you turn it down to 2, it sticks out a little bit on the end. It opens up again on the back side, so it doesn't give you that exact 2 airflow open, although it would be pretty restrictive. And for a dual coil, you would have to be vaping something pretty damn cool in order to close it all the way down to 2. The pros for this RDA. First, it is as smooth as anything. Listen to the airflow on this thing. You can barely hear it. Yeah, this thing is smooth as butter. I absolutely love the smoothness of this RDA. It is absolutely fantastic. The flavor of this RDA is off the charts. The way that those stadium walls build up around the coil and then force that air right down onto it, it's perfect. Honeycomb airflow, which is my favorite. The way that the air is angled down with the help of those walls around the RDA to condense the chamber, the shortness of the RDA to condense the flavor. The flavor on it's fantastic. It really is. The original Recurve is absolutely fantastic. This is, for a dual coil guy like me, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect. The coil option. I mentioned before that you can put different coils in it. I have 3 millimeter coils in it. There's plenty of room to put a 4 millimeter coil in it. And quite frankly, you could probably fit 2 4.5 millimeter coils in it. Even with the same size deck, for the most part, as the original Recurve, he engineered it so that you can fit in 2 large coils, which is really awesome. It really is awesome, and I'm sure it took a lot of planning and preparation and figuring out how to do that in the same style deck without making this a 26 or 27 millimeter RDA. He did it in a 24 millimeter RDA, which for me is my favorite. 24, 25 are my favorite RDA sizes, and perfect with that deck size. The look of it. I mentioned the look. I'm not flashy. I do really, really like Wotofo's blue and gold options, and I got both, which is absolutely fantastic. So the blue looks really, really sexy. The gold looks really, really sexy without a lot of extras on it, just the Recurve brand on it, and that's about it. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I love the look of it. I love the shape of it. I love how short it is. And I actually didn't think I would like it with this drip tip on it, but I do. I do. Now, if you change it out with the other drip tip, it actually looks better, in my opinion. I don't really like that drip tip a whole lot. So I would say that's probably another con on it. I'm not a big fan of that drip tip. The original one that came, I like a bigger drip tip, but it's, you know, different strokes for different folks. My lips are big, so I need a bigger drip tip. Like if I put a small drip tip on it, I'm literally vaping it with it, the whole thing in my mouth, and I can't do that. So that's neither here nor there. I guess that'd be more of an opinion other than really like a con. And the last thing on it, which is obviously very important to me, is the price. It's $29.99 out the door. $29.99. That is a very reasonable price for this RDA. $29.99 will get you a fantastic RDA. In fact, I would probably end up picking up two. If I were to rate this RDA on a scale of poor, meaning it will hurt you, all the way to excellent, I would rate this a great RDA. It is certainly for $29.99. It's a no-brainer, guys. This thing is absolutely fantastic. It has been long anticipated, and it meets every expectation. The only RDA that I've vaped this year better than this one is the Rebirth. So, like I said, I think Mike and I vape exactly the same because everything he puts out hits home runs with me. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the technical difficulties with the mod there and everything. I do it live, so there's not much I can do about it when it happens, but I appreciate you hanging in there and watching this with me. Any questions, concerns, put them down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. Become part of the Black Cat fam. Just come on. You can become right part of the fam. We're a big family around here. And you can also, if you become part of the Black Cat fam, you can win a lot of cool stuff. All right, guys, I will see you Friday on the Vape at 5. We have the Vape Hot Tub. We're going to have Phoenix Vapor on, so make sure that you tune in Friday for that. Thanks, everybody. Love you guys. I will see you again on the Vape at 5.